The new year is often a time to sit and reflect, but also to plan and prepare for the year ahead. You may be wondering, how can I get my business ready for a new year? And during today's segment, we will help you learn how to use your year-end data to strengthen your childcare business. During today's conversation, we're going to focus on the past, the now, and the near future. So there may be questions of what should I reflect on from the past year? What actions should I take now? And what things should I think about to strengthen my business for the near future? The end of the year is often a time when we reflect on the year which has passed. New Year's resolutions are commonly discussed for your personal life, but what about your business affairs? A yearly closeout process can mean more than finalizing figures and syncing up with your tax preparer. The close of a fiscal year is a great time to reflect on the past, present, and future of your business. Whether you're in operation of 1 or 500, you can use this time to properly close out your financial affairs from the past year and plan ahead for the year ahead. You are the most knowledgeable person about your business, and while your experiences are still fresh, you can use both the financial data as well as your lived experience to prepare for the next year. Assessing the state of your operations from the past year can help you develop a strategy for how you will approach the short-term and mid-term future of your childcare business. Given the economic uncertainty presented by the continued effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, informed preparation for next year is much more important more than ever. While this might sound like a big task at first, going through the process one step at a time will help you to feel more confident as you make business decisions for the next year. So take some time to go through your past year to gather any information or lessons learned that can help you to strengthen your business into the future. This conversation will help you take a look at your year-end assessment in terms of what happened last year, what you can do now, and what you will want to do in the coming year to be as strong and successful as possible. So first we're going to look at step 1, which is reflecting back on last year. How did you do financially in 2021? You might have a sense of how you think you did, but taking a look at the hard numbers will help to ground your thoughts and feelings with facts. If you did have a budget in 2021, compare your predicted and actual revenue and expenses. Line by line, you'll assess how your predictions for the year compared to how you actually performed. But no worries, if you didn't have a budget in 2021, you can examine your cash flow throughout the year. You'll do that by looking at your bank account statements to see if you ended up ahead of where you started. And if you did, by how much? Consider if a budget would have been helpful and if creating one now would be useful for this time next year. Set aside some quiet time for yourself to look at your records and ponder on some questions that we're going to have on the next slides. We do recommend that you record your time reflecting on these questions. You can do that by jotting down notes on paper or using a device to record yourself, verbally processing your thoughts. It doesn't matter what the format is, whether it's text, audio, or video, whether you save it to your computer, your tablet, or your cell phone. You just want to record this information now. It can make a big difference for your operations year round. Not only does this help you to streamline and organize your thoughts, but it also provides a tangible record that you can look back on in the future, should you forget. So these are the questions that you will want to ponder on. Were you profitable? Were there differences between your actuals and your planned figures? Or if you didn't have a budget, how much did you want or thought you would spend? And then how much did you actually spend? And do you have a sense of how those differences impacted your business's operations last year? What are the implications for the differences in your planned versus actual revenue and expenses for this coming year? Are there any long-term implications? Perhaps you spent well over what you planned for. What does that mean for this year? How would you need to accommodate or adjust your budget this year? How does your knowledge of last year's finances impact how you will consider adjusting the planned amounts for this coming year? If your revenue came in lower than planned, what figure must you aim to earn next year so that your business can be profitable? And just as we said, if you overspent, what happened? Could any overspending have been avoided by planning or spacing out those expenditures? What can you learn from this reflection to apply to how you plan and execute your finances for the coming year? And finally, are there any expenses that you would benefit from reducing for next year? Would such reductions help you stay within the limits of your actual earned income? Now, you'll take a step back from the details and you'll conclude this exercise of reflection by giving yourself a concise, big picture summary to look back on in the years to come. So consider this a worksheet activity. You have these boxes set up with questions, and they're blank because you'll go in and fill in your responses. And this gives you that big picture glimpse of your performance last year. So these are some of the questions you can ask yourself or some of the prompts you'll want to put down on this worksheet. Financially, this went well for my business last year. Financially, this did not go well for my business last year. As I engaged in this exercise, I was most surprised by financially, if my business ran exactly as I wanted it to, my numbers would be different in this way. And lastly, I want to take these steps to make my numbers more closely reflect where I want my business to be. This is called informed goal setting, and this will help you as you complete your year-end review and prepare for the upcoming year. And just like that, you've completed your year-end review. But now let's see how we're going to act on those ideas. That brings us to step 2 of the year-end planning process. And these are the things that you can do right now. So first, you want to back up your computer files. If your devices were to stop working tomorrow, would you have other up-to-date copies of all your files? This is important. There are different ways that you can back up your files. Backing up your files onto a cloud storage drive is the most common and efficient option. Cloud drives use the internet to store your documents on remote servers. Cloud drives vary in security, pricing, and storage capabilities. The most used, reliable free cloud drives with the greatest amount of free storage include options like Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, Apple iCloud, and Amazon Drive. However, if you're less comfortable with the technology, using external hard drives are an alternative to the non-tangible web-based storage. External hard drives are handheld devices which connect to your computer using a USB port. You can manually copy all your business files from your PC to your external hard drive. We recommend storing the external hard drive in a safe place, ideally a fireproof safe. For your backup files to remain up to date, you will need to continue to add copies of your files to the external hard drive on a regular basis. So this presents a disadvantage when comparing it to the cloud storage drives, which you can automatically set to back up your documents. When deciding between cloud storage drives and external hard drives, consider how many documents you want to store. Cloud drives begin charging a monthly fee when a certain amount of storage is reached. This monthly fee is usually only a few dollars a month, but it can add up over the years to outprice the cost of an external hard drive. If you're storing basic Word documents from the past several years, you're most likely well within the limits of no-cost cloud-based storage options. However, if you take hundreds of pictures each year and store them for marketing purposes, you might want to pause and weigh the costs and benefits to your document backup method. And you can learn more about setting up an effective record-keeping system by visiting childcare.texas.gov. Next, you're going to make sure that your financial documents are in order. As you back up your files, make sure you have all the documents that you or your preparer will need to file this year's taxes. Now is the time to identify them if you have not already, so that you're ready to file. If you hire staff who file their taxes as 1099 contractors, you will need to review the services that they've provided throughout the year and how much you paid them so that you can prepare the paperwork that they need to file their taxes. Ensure that you also verify their full legal name, current address, and taxpayer ID number. That's their TIN. The individual's TIN is usually their social security number, unless the individual's tax residency status is a non-resident or resident alien. And then you're going to prepare yourself again for tax season. You may be wondering how to prepare. There is a linked guide on how to prepare for tax season that walks you step by step through those important actions that you need to consider to get your business ready for taxes. It covers items such as that 1099. Businesses must fill out a 1099, usually a 1099-NEC for independent contractors who you've paid more than $600 to over the course of the calendar year. If you've paid an independent contractor less than $600 within the calendar year, you do not need to provide them with the Form 1099. You must fill out 2 copies of the 1099 for your 1099 contracted staff. The IRS designates a 1099 copy A and a 1099 copy B. Copy A and copy B require the same information. Copy A will then be sent to the IRS, and copy B will be sent to your contracted employee. If you are a sole proprietor, remember that the wages that you pay yourself can be deducted from your taxes. You can review the TWC guide, Paying Yourself, a guide for sole proprietors, to learn more about paying yourself. If you are unsure of your paid staff's employee classification, you can also review the TWC guide, When is Someone a Contractor or an Employee? This contains great guidance for you to understand whether or not you should classify someone as a contractor or an employee. If you operate your child care business out of your home, ensure that you calculate which percentage of your home is used for business so that you can claim your minimum allowed deduction. This is called your time space percentage, and there is a guide as well on this topic that helps home-based providers walk through the process of calculating their time space. And if you received relief funding in 2021, you would want to review the guide on how relief funding affects your taxes. This walks you through some of the most common forms of relief funds, including the child care relief funds, and what impact those funds may have on your tax filing. All of the guides that I just previously mentioned are all available at childcare.texas.gov. And now we'll talk on step 3, which is planning for success in the near future. And this really will focus on 3 main components that you want to keep your eye on, because that can help impact your business's performance for this year. And those are your finances, your enrollment, and your staffing levels. In general, your child care's program's income is strong when your per child rate covers your costs. All fees are collected and your enrollment is maximized. This is referred to as the Iron Triangle in managing finances for early childhood education programs. For decades, childcare programs have relied on their ability to control the fundamentals of the Iron Triangle model as it applied to their operation. Yet, we face unprecedented conditions today that complicate this tried and true model. Staffing shortages impact the ability to maximize enrollment. Volatility in expenses can make it difficult to understand your costs to set your per child rate. And providers can lose revenue due to unpredictable and occasional temporary closures. Providers today must take more steps than in the past to strengthen their financial business model. The easy activities that we're going to describe in a few moments can help you to incorporate the fundamentals of the Iron Triangle and meet today's challenges. These tools provide tried and true steps to analyze your revenue and expenses and balance your budget. Additionally, consider the recommended activities to mitigate the impact of conditions related to the COVID-19 pandemic upon your business, such as staffing and enrollment. As you engage in these activities, keep in mind your reflections on your budget activities from 2021. If you did not have a budget last year, or if you were not involved in your budgeting process, your first step should be to create or learn about your business's monthly budget. The continued impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic have wreaked havoc on our economy's stability. It is important now more than ever to become aware of any inconsistencies or changes in your revenue and expenses so that you can proactively adapt. There is a monthly budget template available at childcare.texas.gov. Next, you can develop a cash flow forecast to help you understand and project how much money your business will take in and expend on a monthly basis. A cash flow exercise helps you to plan for potential temporary shortages of cash on hand. After you've built the base case for your cash flow forecast, that's the things that you can expect and the ways you can expect your cash to behave, you can continue with the exercise by developing best case, but also worst case scenarios. Consider how you might want to allocate excess revenue if the financial best case does play out over the next year. Alternatively, you should also plan for how you will handle revenue declines and or expense increases should the worst case scenario occur. As you draft your budget and cash flow projection for the new year, we recommend building a safety net into your budget. This is a contingency plan. You should build or maintain an emergency fund for instances where cash flow is negative at your month's end. If you don't have an emergency fund built yet, you could establish access to a business line of credit or explore other means to access capital. And there is a guide on accessing capital for your childcare business available at childcare.texas.gov. You can also just get involved. If you haven't been involved with the budgeting process for your business, consider integrating yourself into your operations financial planning. Even if you hire a bookkeeper or another financial professional to take care of the work, it is recommended that you, as an administrator, still become involved in the revenue and expense reporting process. This not only builds accountability into your business practices, but it also gives you the tools that you need to leverage your operations' financial performance to continue to connect finances to your overall business planning throughout the year. If you don't have a copy of your business's budget, consider reaching out to your bookkeeper and having a conversation about the budget. Keep a copy of your annual budget on file. Even if you and your bookkeeper update the books, well, even if your bookkeeper updates the books without your input and you don't want to or don't have the time to be involved, still request copies of your monthly financial statements moving forward. With enrollment most likely comprising the bulk of your revenue, you'll want to take a hard look at your enrollment levels over the course of last year. Consider where you would like to see your enrollment levels in 2022 and where they need to be so that you can generate the revenue that you want and need. If you would like to increase your enrollment, marketing and staffing will be key components of your business strategy. And we're going to talk through those. Enrolling more children directly connects with your ability to improve the long-term sustainability of your childcare business. The stronger your enrollment now, the greater likelihood that you'll be able to provide a higher quality of care to more children over time. When you first consider boosting enrollment, you might feel a bit overwhelmed. After all, you might think that you cannot control how many families want to and are able to enroll their children in your care, right? Well, not exactly. There are tangible actions that you can take to market your business and generate more interest in enrollment. First, ask your staff and current families to refer other families. New families are most likely to trust the opinions of other families and friends. Consider offering a small gift or public kudos for families who successfully refer your business to families who enroll because of that referral. Next, you'll develop or expand upon your social media and web presence. Families use the web and social media as a key resource. Use these methods to emphasize what makes your operation unique and why families should send their children to be in your care. Make sure your business shows up in results for where community members might search for childcare centers, places like Google or Yelp, and also leverage the power of apps like Nextdoor and local or town Facebook groups to share that you have openings. You can publicize the precautions that you're taking to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Add information on your social media pages and website which describes the protective measures that you have taken. Ensure all shared photos and videos show staff with masks following proper safety protocols. You can connect with other providers, especially those who might be retiring or going out of business. Networking with other childcare providers can benefit the whole community, including your clients and your operation. Knowing what other providers are doing makes you aware of what marketing strategies seem to be working and what doesn't seem to be working in your community. Also, understanding what other providers are offering helps you understand what makes your offerings unique. Prospective clients will appreciate if you know your operation is not a good fit for a certain family, but you can recommend another which is. In the same token, other providers you connect with can refer families to you. These are just a few of many strategies to boost your enrollment. You can receive personalized advisement on how to act on these strategies and others by connecting with the free business coaching service provided by TWC. Experienced coaches are available at no cost to you to help you focus on your business goals and stay accountable to what you want to achieve. And you can request free business coaching at texas.childcare.gov. Moving forward and considering your staffing. Recently, staffing has presented a major challenge for the childcare workforce, not only in Texas but also nationwide. Attracting and retaining staff is a topic worth considering during this reflection and brainstorming exercise. Do you have the staff to accommodate your target enrollment? Although staffing has been difficult, you have access to techniques to attract high quality applicants. If you have concerns about retaining staff in the new year, you might want to consider temporary pay increases to bolster your competitiveness in the local market. Or perhaps you can examine whether you could add benefits to your employment packages. Also, there are no cost ways to make your business more attractive, a more attractive place for people who want to work there. You can take steps to evaluate and improve upon your workplace culture. In a recent Boston Consulting Group and the Network survey, 200,000 people from 186 countries were asked what factors made them the most happy at work. The top ranking factors in order were receiving appreciation for a job well done, having good relationships with colleagues, having a good work life balance, and having good relationships with their superiors. Salary ranked eighth on the list. So, what is the takeaway from that? As a business owner, you have the power to create competitive job opportunities in your community. To harness that power, you simply need to focus on developing and communicating your business's work culture. And it's not news that we've all experienced stress more acutely because of the challenges and changes brought upon by the pandemic. But reducing stress for yourself and your employees can be incredibly beneficial for both personal and professional well being. If staff feel supported to value their time away from work and to take the personal time they need, they will be more likely to deliver high quality work while on the job, to feel more committed to their work, and to regard their job more highly. Research shows that people's stress levels decrease when their gratitude levels increase. You can develop a culture in which you praise your staff for a job well done and encourage your staff to congratulate and thank one another. This alone can boost your employees' satisfaction with their time on the job. And all links that you see present here have corresponding guides available on those topics at childcare.texas.gov. So our final thoughts is that we're amid the first worldwide pandemic to occur in 100 years. In the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, you continue to provide an invaluable service to Texan children and families. We have heard you as you've shared your stories illustrating stress and sacrifice, and we have heard your stories which demonstrate your perseverance, growth mindset, and motivation to continue to support and serve the community. What lies ahead for the year is unknown. However, you do not need to be uncertain when it comes to your business planning. You do have the tools at your fingertips to navigate ambiguous circumstances and to come out of this pandemic with exponentially more business savvy than when you entered it. And if you need help, free business coaching is available to you for assistance with your end of year activities to strengthen your business. Experienced coaches are available at no cost to you to help you focus on your business goals and to stay accountable to what you want to achieve. So, to sign up for a session, you'll register for coaching at childcare.texas.gov, or if you would just like to take a deeper look at your own pace at some of the guides that are available, please feel free to do so. They are all linked at childcare.texas.gov. Thank you.